Hey everyone. My name is Elite Pierre. My beautiful, beautiful wife, Tamara Pierre, is here alongside with me. Welcome to the very, very first episode of hashtag Ask the Pierres. You can find us at www.workwiththepeers.com. You can also find us on social media, Facebook, or both of our fan pages are up and running. So make sure you stop by our pages and like our page. So this week, again, or this episode, we're going to be actually answering a few questions that were asked in the comments of Work with the Peers. So in the future, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to go to www. You can also find us on social media, Facebook, or both of our fan pages are up and running. So make sure you stop by our pages. All right, cool. I actually have Work with the Peers up and live, so we can actually get the questions submitted. So I do apologize for that, but we are ready to rock, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to allow my wife to kind of just do a quick intro so you can know we're not, total strangers. Before we go into the Q&A, we just want to kind of do a quick intro so you know that we're qualified to share this information with you. So, Mrs. Pierre, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
My name is Tamara Pierre, and I have been with this wonderful man for going on 16 years this August. And basically, we have ran into a lot of trials and tribulations in our journey in the industry. We've been in the industry going on 4 years. We've had some success, and we've had some failures. So going from trying to launch an entire market by ourselves to actually having a team of over, I think, 2,000, babe?
Yep.
Over 2,000 people. It teaches you a lot about yourself. It teaches you to either sink or swim. It teaches you how to have conflict resolution. It teaches you, or it actually holds up a mirror, and you're able to see what type of leader you are, and the leader that you want to be, and the leader that you need to be for your team. We got into the industry, well, my own personal reason for joining my husband on his journey was I was a stay-at-home mom. We have 6 beautiful children, but at the time we had 4. And I was like looking for a way to contribute to my family. My husband, most of you guys know, is active duty military, and he wears that uniform proudly, but it also draws him away from us. So I wanted to be able to contribute to my family, not just to feel like, the stay-at-home wife who is a burden to her family. I wanted to pull my own weight. If any independent women out there could understand where I'm coming from. I was always the one who was working. I had been working since I was 14. And so I, within my own self, was like, I need to find a way to contribute to my family, but also allow myself to be at home with my children. I didn't want to have someone else raising my children just so I could clock in and clock out. I feel like today's society is dependent upon 2 parents working. The economy is built to have both parents working, which means someone else is going to be raising your children for a vast part of their life, and I just didn't want to fall into that category. I'm also the only child, and I wanted to make sure that my parents were well taken care of, because as of now, they're still senior citizens, and one of them is working 2 jobs with an illness, and my dad works about 12 to 14 hours. So I wanted to be that daughter who was able to change the family tree dynamics, and so that was my own personal reason for getting involved into the industry. And I feel like it's been nothing but a blessing to my family. For the most part, outside of financially, it's grew me into a better woman, a better wife, a better daughter, a better mother. So I'm going to move myself out of the way and let my husband take over and give a little intro about himself and why we are qualified, or, not qualified, but compelled to help is where I feel like we are right now.
Definitely. Well, thank you, sweetheart. As again, many of you know, my name is Elite Pierre, active duty military, been in the Army for 18 years, been an entrepreneur for almost 4 years, primarily working network marketing, but we also have additional business. I'm an author. I wrote a book called Only the Elite. Make sure you check that out on Amazon. Been with my wife for 10 years. We have 6 beautiful children. Well, been with my wife for 16 years. We've been married for 10 years. We have 6 beautiful children. And like she said, we have a passion just for helping people. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go right into the information. We have a few questions that were submitted to our website. For those of you who just tuned in, make sure you visit workwiththepeers.com. And if you post on social media, make sure you use the hashtag #AskThePierres. It's hashtag #AskThePierres, and we'll be able to incorporate your questions into the show. We're going to be doing more of these shows, so make sure if you want to get a question answered, you can submit it on the website. You can also submit it on social media. Just use the hashtag. You can even use submit video questions. So let's get right into the show. Our first question is from Mr. Eric B. Brooker, independent distributor at Total Life Changes, short TLC. This question is, do you think TLC will be adjusting its product costs to remain competitive? Mr. Brooker, that's definitely a great question. I'm going to let my wife give her 2 cents on it, and then I'll share my perspective, and then we'll move on to the next question. Mrs. Pierre?
Yes. Well, my answer to the question is, from what I understand, we already have started adjusting some of our prices. Yes. I'm excited to see what the future holds for TLC. I know that we are going to be launching a few new products throughout the oncoming months. And so I think with the new products that we're launching, along with what we're doing with the current product line, I think we will be more than competitive in the industry. And I'm just excited to see what Mr. Fallon has in store for Total Life Changes.
Definitely. I agree with you, sweetheart. I mean, if we look at the history of Mr. Fallon being in business for 16 years, since we've been in the company for, 19 months, the price point on products have already changed. Last year the tea went up. Last year the resolution actually dropped down, and it's dropped down again. So, my perspective, the corporate staff, Mr. Fallon, John Licari, they're definitely going to be well, in tune to the industry, well in tune to the market that we operate, the markets that we operate in. And I believe that absolutely, yes, they will continue, not that they will, but they will continue to adjust the prices accordingly, based on the cost, the cost factor, and as well, to stay competitive in the market. You have anything else you'd like to add, sweetheart?
No. Well, yes. Only that, in this industry, it's imperative that we reinvent ourselves, not just as individuals, but company-wise too. So I know Mr. Fallon is in the know how to make a company great, because he's taken Total Life Changes and he's made it a phenomenal opportunity. I like to call it, a vision that we enrolled into, not necessarily an opportunity or a business. His vision gets bigger and bigger. So like I said, I'm just excited to see where his vision leads me in the future. And for everyone that sticks with us, I'm excited to see where we all go.
That's a good point that you made, because on a hangout last night, he actually said that Total Life Changes gets to a point where it's time to reinvent, as a business, as an organization, there comes a point where you have to reinvent yourself.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and I've heard that along my journey as well. Definitely a good feeling hearing Mr. Fallon say that, as well as you reiterating that. So our next question, ladies and gentlemen, comes from Teresa Myers, Executive Director at Literacy Council in Northtown. Her question is, what actionable steps can I take that will bring hungry leads who become business partners to me in this business? I'll go ahead and kind of lead off on this question, and then I'll let my wife kind of give her 2 cents as well. There's many ways to generate leads. You can get lead generating systems. You can, when you first get involved in network marketing, we tell you to build a list, build a very big list, right? And then work that list, continue to add to that list. And generating leads is just going to basically add to the list. A lot of people, they struggle because they never do that first initial step, and it's hard to add to something that you never produced in the first place, if that makes sense. Like you have to have a foundation, and everything that you build from there is going to be based off of that foundation. So so start with the basic, you know, build a list of your personal contacts, and then meet people. You know, there's billions and billions of people online. There's billions of people in this world. You know, you walk past and you talk to hundreds of thousands, you know, thousands. It depends on where you're at. Hundreds of thousands of people daily. You can generate leads on and offline on a regular basis. You just have to make it you have to intentionally grow your contact list. It has to be intentional. It's not just going to happen by accident. And I know my wife is going to have some actionable steps, because that's what you asked for, Ms. Myers. What are some actionable steps that you can take to generate leads, Mrs. Pierre?
I would say, and this is basically for me, what I had to, first of all, I had to push myself out of my comfort zone. We're like you said, we're always talking to people on a regular basis, whether it's, you know, in the checkout line, the regular cashier at your local grocery store or Walmart or wherever you may be. So like you said, you want to always constantly add to those lists. What I would say is maybe check out where you're looking for leads. We all know there's 97% of people out here who either are employed or seeking employment. So if you have an opportunity that you can give them to make some income, maybe align yourself with people who are looking for an opportunity. There are several Facebook groups or, you know, social media. Make sure you're very active on your social media platforms, looking for leads into people who are looking for opportunities, whether it be a job or business opportunities. There's several social media groups out here that you can find. Like you said before, you can purchase lead generation systems, but you know, it's a hit or miss with those. The good part of it is, though, those are people who are genuinely looking for something different. So sometimes you may have to invest a little bit of money. And I do want to say this. I want to say that sometimes in our business, we are afraid or hesitant to invest. And unless you invest money, you're never going to see a generous return. Like, you have to step out on faith when you decide to become a part of this industry. And, you know, I get it. Sometimes our last dollar is our last dollar, but you got to be willing to sacrifice in order to receive. So some people are not really on the lead generation bandwagon because you have to pay for it. I say, you know, go old school. You know, me and my husband was talking about this earlier today, and I said, you know, people still get classifieds from the newspaper to look for jobs. Are we doing everything we possibly can to find thirsty horses? If you are aligning yourself in a position to be water for thirsty horses, you'll have no problem.
Definitely. I couldn't agree with you more. I know what you're referring to is something that our mentor has shared with us. You know, a lot of people ask, well, how you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So the add-on to that most people don't know about is the solution is find thirsty horses. If you find thirsty horses, you lead them to water, they're going to drink. You don't have to worry about leading them to water and hoping they drink or wishing they drink or run into the problem of them not drinking.
Right.
You can actually lead a horse to water knowing that they're going to drink because you know they're thirsty.
They're thirsty.
So we definitely have to be very, very intentional with targeting our audience and who can benefit from what we have to offer. And that's anything. That's not just in TLC. In life, like, you have to create a community of people who are interested in you. This is what I'm discovering, and this is where I'm having a lot of my success, is creating a community who's interested in Elite Pierre. And once you're interested in Elite Pierre, then I can share with you what I got going on, whether it's my book, whether it's my products, whether it's my services, whatever it is. Now that you're interested in me, and I've built a relationship with you and I brought you value. If you want the easiest way, in my opinion, to in getting leads, That's the easy part. You know, there's a billion people outside. There's a billion people online. How to actually, and this is kind of moving on to the last question, so I don't want to steal the glory of the next question. But in my opinion, the easiest way is to build relationships with people and give them value. Give, then ask for something back. A lot of people, they go right into the relationship asking for stuff. You know, they go right into the conversation asking for stuff. And you got to think about a 17-year-old guy on his first date asking to hit a home run, and they just met. Like, you have to be romantic. You take them out to dinner, you know, take them to a movie, introduce them to your mom.
That's not a 17-year-old guy. That's any first
grown men.
Yeah,
grown men. Introduce them to your mom first, and now that y'all done built a relationship, now maybe we can take it to, you know, the next base, which is the sale.
It's even like that in business, though. If people fail to realize how tied our industry is to the actual traditional business world. For instance, when you go to a bank, you can't just walk into any bank off the street and say, "Hey, give me a loan." You know, you can't open an account with them and then turn around and say, "Hey, I need a loan." You actually have to do business with that bank. They have to see value in you as a customer. You have to build a relationship with your bank. And then they'll say, okay, you know what? We've looked at your history for the past 6 to 8 months. And yes, we feel like you are a good fit for business with us. It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing.
And it's not even just getting a loan, but it's if you want to take your own money out the bank, you had to put some in there first.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You can't withdraw from something you never made a deposit into. So
to open a savings account, you have to have a minimum deposit first.
Yep.
And you have to keep money in there every month, or it'll close down.
You gotta maintain a balance. My advice would be invest into people, make deposits into people, right? And that way you'll be able to yield a return from them. And I'm learning this along the way. I don't want y'all to think that we got it all figured out. We just want to be able to share information that we've learned along the way. And hopefully maybe one person who's watching might be able to get some value out of something that, you know, we've experienced, and you know, it can skip them some hardship along their journey as well. You got any other notes final notes on Ms. Meyer's questions, Mrs. Pierre?
I hope we were able to effectively answer her question and, you know, give her some light in the right direction.
All right, awesome. So I want to give a shout out to Miss Linda Knight Higgs for just saying hello on workwiththepeers.com. If you're watching, make sure you bookmark this page. Workwiththepeers.com. This is where we're broadcasting live, and this is where you can ask questions for future shows, future episodes. So Miss Knight Higgs said hi, Elite and Tamara, and give a shout out to Mr. Kevin Staley, Kevin Moving Forward Staley from works at Kingdom Domination International Ministries. Just give a shout out for you for interacting on our page and saying awesomeness. Thank you very much. Our last question of the day, ladies and gentlemen, comes from Patricia Knock, independent business owner with Total Life Changes at Entrepreneur. She asked, first she said hello to the both of us. She said that she has to be one of our biggest fans. Thank you very much, Ms. Knock. We appreciate your attention. Thank you for engaging and supporting our journey. Her question is, how do you get folks to say yes and partner with you? I've had those who come on board, then do nothing. We can relate with that. I want to attract people who see the vision, see something better than their present situation. I seem to be stuck. So Mrs. Pierre, yes. I'm gonna let you kind of go into that a little bit, and I'll piggyback off of you.
Okay, how do you get people to enroll in the vision, believe in something bigger, and so she gets people who you're going to get people in this industry who absolutely do nothing. And it's one or two reasons. One, their investment or belief wasn't big enough, or it hurt them to invest. And what I mean by that is, if I got, extra $40-something laying on my counter, and I'm like, you know what, I'll get this tea thing a try, and I go ahead and partner up with you, it really didn't hurt me. It wasn't a sacrifice for me to join your business. So if I get into business, there's no rush, or there's no need for me to actually do anything. Or two, they weren't mentally prepared for the industry. So what I've learned is you have to treat your organization. I know we say, everybody that comes on board is an independent business owner, and true they are. But if they join you in business, you have to look at yourself as the CEO of your organization. And you have to treat it like a business, which means you have to interview people. We are in the process of sorting people. So everybody may want a piece of the pie, but is everybody qualified, or is everybody deserving a piece of the pie? And that's where the sorting comes in to play. So when you are meeting new prospects, there's qualifying questions you ask them. And one of the things is, we make sure we ask them to tell us about themselves and give us their why, so we know exactly what it is that they are striving for to get out of the opportunity. And sometimes people will just give you a why. Well, I need extra $500 a month, or I need, mostly it's monetary. And so then when you have to draw out what they're going to do with that money. You need an extra $500. Well, why do you need an extra $500? There's always a outline or a backstory to that. For me, it was monetary, but there's no amount of money that I can put on the freedom of my parents not being senior citizens and working. One of my parents works 2 jobs, and she has a ton of illnesses. And my dad is a senior citizen driving a Port Authority bus back home to Pittsburgh. So there's no amount of money that I can tell somebody when they ask me what my why is that will justify or give you an answer. But when I'm giving you my why, it's people oriented, it's heartfelt, it's not monetary, and if that makes sense. So we're in the business of sorting people, and you have to make sure that you are interviewing people. It's all about quality and not quantity. We're going to go through the numbers. If you're doing what you're supposed to do in talking to people, giving exposures, giving yourself a set goal for the day, and you're talking to people, you're going to get people in your organization who do absolutely nothing. It's unavoidable. However, what you can do to increase your likelihood of keeping your people engaged or keeping your people active is just making sure you are interviewing them and you're spending the time with the right people. I really couldn't give any more of an answer other than just make sure you are vetting your people. When we have a presidential candidate, he gets vetted. And he gets vetted really good because we are trusting him to run him or her to run our country. And it's almost like that with your business. You're trusting these individuals that you're partnering with to run an expansion of your business. You're giving them the keys to your kingdom as well as their kingdom. If you understand what I'm saying, they're representing you as much as they're representing themselves. So you make sure that you're vetting these people who are out here representing you. I really couldn't give her any more than that.
That's a really good point, though. A lot of people, I'm getting some echo. Can you hear the echo?
A little teeny bit, but it's not bad.
All right. So I'm just gonna keep talking. A lot of people they say some companies aren't giving them the proper support. Some leaders aren't giving them the proper support. Or, they're not having success because they don't have the right guidance and the right support from the leadership. And we got to understand, as we grow the organization, everything that we do is going to duplicate. So we might actually be breeding those leaders who are ineffective, right? And people are leaving the organization because of ineffective leaders that we never took the time to connect with coach, mentor, and develop. So everything that happens, we have to take personal responsibility for making sure what's supposed to happen does happen. Like my wife said, you know, people are going to come and go. There's going to be people who come and do nothing. It's just like a job. People are going to get hired that never climb the scale. They never get promoted. They never even, you know, effectively produce at their job. But they go to work. They show up. They're there, right? They get paid, but they don't do nothing. So we got to understand that that's part of the process. But like my wife said, we definitely have to vet people. There's going to be, and I got this from my mentor who's running a multi-million-dollar business. And I hope this advice is going to really help someone, because it really helped me understand and put things into perspective. There's going to be let's say out of 100 people on your team, there's going to be, you know, 20 of them who are, they say 20%, right? 20% of the people do 80% of the work. We can all agree that that's the truth, right? So out of those 20 people who's doing 80% of the work, there's still only going to be about 3, maybe 5, maybe even 7 people who are like the key people, like the senior executives of your corporation, right? With those people, right? And y'all got to understand, we have an organization of over 2,000 people, but guess how many of them are active? Guess how many people are actually building? Guess how many people that we have a personal relationship with? Guess how many people we personally sponsor? Those numbers vary, and it varies for every organization. But those key people, ladies and gentlemen, it is vital. It is important that we take the time out and actually get to know everything about that person. I mean, what do they like to eat? How do they think? Do they have children? Take them out to dinner. It has to be more than just business with those people. Like with that select amount of people, ladies and gentlemen, it has to be more than business with those, because those are the people, like my wife said, these are the people who's going to be running a branch of your corporation, a branch of your organization, a branch of your legacy. So, you know, you got to connect with them ones on a different level. People, we and I take personal responsibility on this too. We don't measure or accurately give credit to the importance of personal relationship building. It's huge. It is huge. It is probably the most important thing in business, is the relationship building. So to answer the questions, how do you get people to say yes? You have to ask yourself, number one, I would say, ask yourself, would you say yes to you? Because understand it's a process. You know, you might not be where you need to be to attract the people that you want or attract the leaders. So there's a growth. You got to do personal development. You have to learn. You have to study. You have to practice. You have to be a practitioner. And you have to go through the numbers. You know, Mr. Jim Rohn said, if you do something enough times, a ratio will appear. How do you get people to say yes? Expose enough people until a ratio appears. If you talk to 10 and get 1, now a ratio has appeared. There's a good chance if you talk to another 10, you'll get another one. I mean, and I'm quoting Jim Rohn. I'm not making this stuff up. He said, you talk to another 10, you might get 2. Why? Because you're getting better. The only way this is going to work for you, the more you do something, the better you get at it. So you're getting better. You're getting better. And then you might get so good that you get 3 out of 10. Now, he said it takes like a genius to get anything more than 3. Like 2 or 3 is phenomenal. 4, that's like, that really doesn't happen. But guess what? 1, 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10. We're talking about, if you think about batting averages, baseball players are paid millions of dollars to strike out 7 times out of 10. That's a 300 batting average, right? Batting, you don't have to bat 1,000. 300 will pay you millions. Same thing in this business. You just got to go through the numbers. You got to talk to enough people. How do you get them to stick? Build the relationships. So those are the questions that we have for today. Mrs. Pierre, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Yes. I wanted to say also we have to really remember all volume is a good volume. So it's okay to get people to leave, because sometimes we hear so many no's. We'll take that first yes, And that yes could actually end up being the cancer to your organization, or just the person is so negative and we were so happy to hear a yes that we really didn't vet the person like we should have. People,
Yep.
it's like they say, success leaves clues. People leave footprints. You know, nowadays with social media, people are posting their whole entire lives, what they had for dinner, where they went shopping, what their neighbors doing. You can look on somebody's social media page and see exactly what they will be bringing into your organization. You have to ask, I mean, don't be afraid to ask the question, you know, what value could you bring to the organization? I know when you go sit down for a job interview,
They do it.
they ask you, what value will you bring to the company? You know, if I hire you, what value are you bringing to my team, to my organization, to my company? Sometimes you have to treat, and again, I keep saying that MLM, network marketing, it has so many differences from traditional business, but because it is a business, we cannot neglect to look to traditional businesses for some good business practices. Also, I would just like to say, I wanted to caveat off of something you said. I can't remember what it was. Oh, leadership. Are you the person that, would you say yes to you? John Maxwell has a phenomenal training on leadership. And so many of us are out here when we get started, we're so excited. We see all the leaders in the company, and the first thing we say is, I need to go find me, you know, a Stormy Wellington, or I need to go find me a Kenny Lloyd, or I need to go find me a, you know, Holton Bugs, or Jim Rohn, or Eric Worre, or something like that. I need to go find me the top. And these people are sitting on level 5. And you come into the gate and you're a level 1 or 2 or 3. Well, the laws of leadership say that ceiling is going to stop for you at the level that you are. You're never going to be able to attract the superstars unless you put yourself in a position to become the superstar. If you're not attractive to that superstar, they're going to look right over you. So people stress how important personal development is and leadership growth, but I think coming into the industry, or when you're bummed out and you're looking at the numbers and they're just not in your favor, you really think, is it worth it? And I got to encourage anybody who's listening. It is so worth taking the time out to actually read. I think Ms. Denisha Graham said you're supposed to read about 30 pages a day. Now, I don't know if most people are doing that, but I will say pick you out a book and read a book a month. I will say that. You know, you need it like your armor in this industry. But, you know, just to caveat on what you said, you know, that level, that law of leadership, those levels are so real. They are so real, very, very real. And just make sure you're outside of your comfort zone. If you're talking to people inside your comfort zone, chances are that's why maybe you're not having as much success as you would like to. Step outside of your comfort zone. Start talking to people that you probably would never talk to on a regular basis. If you have children, I would say, and this goes to the previous question too, if you have children or if you're in any type of organizations, PTAs, football, soccer, baseball, basketball, start interacting with those moms. Go to the PTA, start going to your city council meetings, you know, start going to libraries when they have readings and poetry nights. And I mean, there's so many things and activities out here that we as a people have access to that are free, that don't cost us anything, that we're so afraid to enter. I would say just make sure you're stepping out of your comfort zone. I'm doing it daily. I would never have been on a platform like this answering questions, doing opportunity calls, webinars, phone calls, 3-ways. Now it's like, you know what? My family and my team depend on me to step out of my comfort zone. How am I going to be the leader I want if I'm comfortable? And that's basically just all I had to add to that.
That's what's up. That's what's up. If y'all notice, like my wife, she quoted or she referred to John Maxwell's leadership. Was it five levels of leadership? Or is it 7?
He has a training on it, but he has a book called 21, I think, Laws of Leadership.
Yup, the irrefutable laws of leadership. You know, I refer to not John Maxwell, I refer to Jim Rohn. We have mentors. I mean, you can't do this by yourself. Success does not have, there's no such thing as overnight success, and there's no such thing as a self-made millionaire or self-made billionaire. There's always something that helped that success take place. So I challenge each and every one of you that's watching, that's listening, make sure you invest into yourself. Read 30 pages a day, or start reading a couple pages a day and work up to 30 pages a day. Go to YouTube, get all the free content that's out there for personal development, personal growth, self-development. Everything that you need to be successful is at the tip of your fingers.
And it's free.
Go ahead.
And it's free.
And it's free.
There's a lot of YouTube videos that you can watch out here on personal development.
Yep.
Amazon, the Kindle, the ebooks. I mean, you can get them at a decent price. But again, like I said, do not be afraid to invest in your business, in your future. You know, some people are looking for, you know, this thin little line, and the narrowest way possible that I can walk, and, you know, and still maybe make it. And it's like, you're going to have to invest. And, you know, investing is going to get you further than non-investing. I'll tell you that.
It is. And here's what's going to happen. I'm going to share this, and then we're going to close out the episode. People value something more when they have to pay for it. Like this show right here, this is free for you to watch. It's going to be on my YouTube channel. You'll be able to go back and rewatch it again. You'll be able to share it. But it's free. And that's the problem. That's the problem, because if you had to pay $100 to get into this information, to get to this content, then you would look at it differently. You would treat it differently. You would make sure you got everything you could out of it because you spent money to get to it. And I'm telling you this from experience. When I had to make a sacrifice to get to a location, there was something there waiting for me that I didn't even know. And I had to learn that lesson along the way. New Orleans, Atlanta.
I think about our very first conference and the sacrifices we had to make to get to LA, and John Maxwell was the speaker. I got to see this man live do his training.
That opened up our eyes to something brand new.
I needed that. I needed to hear that. Yeah. But if I would not have made the sacrifice, oh, you know what? I can't afford it. I'm not going. What do they mean? Events grow your business. I can't afford it. I'm not going. I would have never been able to see and hear and speak to that man, ask him questions, you know, all of that. It was something that I took away from it because I had to sacrifice. So when it was time for him to keynote speak, I took notes.
Yeah. Write down everything. Every time you have an opportunity to learn something, especially like this. How many of you watching this right now are taking notes of the information that we're discussing? So treat this like you pay $1,000 to get this content. I want y'all to watch these videos and act like you paid $1,000 to get access to this information. Mentally, it's free. But if you had to pay $1,000 to get this content, you would take notes differently. You would act differently. You would approach the whole situation differently. You would listen differently, right? So I want you to add more value to the things that you do, and that's going to serve you well. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our show. We definitely appreciate your time and attention. Make sure you click the links below. Tamara and Elite, make sure you like our Facebook pages, turn on the notifications, and go to see first so that you never miss any content that we produce. Whenever we're having another show, whenever we're just dropping a video or whatnot, or just engaging content, please engage with us on social media. Ask a question in the comments so your question can be answered on the next episode. We're actually working towards an episode that is specifically focused on marriages and relationships, primarily marriages, but marriages in multi-level marketing or network marketing. So if you're married, please ask us questions that's geared towards that topic. We want to build up a show for that topic, and we're actually building towards a marriage retreat for network marketers, married couples in network marketing. But if you know someone who's married, If you know someone who's married and they're in network marketing, please share that information with them. Maybe tag them in this video or share this video with them, and get them to ask the question so we can build up some content that's going to actually build towards that show. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. Thank you so much for your time. Definitely stay tuned in for the next episode of Ask the Peers. Mrs. Pierre, any final notes?
No, I just want to thank everybody for their support and for their trust in me and helping push me outside my comfort zone. Sometimes you really don't know people are checking for you until you know people are checking for you. So it was an eye-opening for me to realize that I had, you know, so much love. So for everybody who's loving on me, I'm loving on you guys back, and thank you so much for pushing me to become a better leader, a better businesswoman, and a better spouse.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, Mrs. Pierre. Thank you, viewers. Definitely share this video, like it, and we'll see you on the next episode. Hashtag Ask the Peers, www.workwiththepeers.com. Love you guys. See you next time.